5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I believe I am now. Hello, I'm live on YouTube. Dan Salem here on BuzzChomp YouTube channel. Let me go live over on the Facebook mentions at the Dan Salem. Then I'll hit some Twitter action going live before we talk the NFL. And in 3, 2, 1. Woo! Hello, hello, hello. All right, I'm live on Facebook, live on YouTube. I am Dan Salem, at the Dan Salem over on YouTube, at the Dan Salem over on Facebook, at the Dan Salem on Twitter. YouTube is the BuzzChomp channel. Let me tweet this because we are going to be talking NFL and you want to share it, and I'm going to share it, and then I'm going to share it again with BuzzChomp because that's the best part about social media is sharing. Sharing is caring. So please share, share, share. The pictures for this week features the always lovable Green Bay Packers because OTAs have started. Off-season workouts, these are of the voluntary variety. There'll be a mandatory minicamp coming up for most teams, but nearly every single NFL team has started their OTA workouts or will start them this week. That means lots of battles going on in camp. I'm going to touch on a few because every team's got their battles. So if you're a passionate Minnesota Vikings came to mind, but they probably have a QB battle going on. The fun battles for fans, not of your team, are the quarterback battles. Now my team, the New York Jets, have their quarterback battle. Chicago Bears have a quarterback battle. The Cleveland Browns have a quarterback battle. Is there a battle in San Francisco? Not really. There's a battle on several other teams that don't have quarterbacks. Houston Texans, there we go. I knew there was another big one, right? Okay, so we're going to talk each one of these, and then I'm going to try to touch on some other positional battles around the league, because that's what the offseason workouts are all about, OTAs. You get to see our first taste of the rookies on their new teams and veterans in new places. Also, teams get a sense, coaches get a sense of who their teams may or may not be, and maybe they'll pick up some of these last remaining high ticket item veterans that are still out there and available, which is worth mentioning right off the bat. Over on at the Dan Salem Facebook page, I have written articles. We spotlighted Todd and I on NFL Spin Zone the best offensive free agents available and the best defensive free agents still available. There's some big names. On defense, Elvis Dumervil, Dwight Freeney come to mind, and then a ton of cornerbacks, including Darrelle Revis. I got to believe most of these guys are going to either accept less money or retire. But, I mean, football is not the type of sport where you go in half-assed, so I'm really curious whether these guys land. And then on the offensive side, obviously Colin Kaepernick, which factors into all of these QB battles we're about to touch on. And then there's a couple of good tight ends still available. Jacob Tamme, who I particularly like, having watched him play on the Dolphins. And, who else? There's some Victor Cruz. Yeah, there's some real talent still out there. And if these guys want another shot, another season, someone's going to pay them. Minimal, but they're going to get paid. All of our running backs have found second homes. So, quarterback. Colin Kaepernick's out there. Now, because of the way the offseason rolled, a team like Chicago overpaid Mike Glennon and then overpaid for their rookie Mitch Trubisky. They double overpaid. We're going to talk about that quarterback battle and break it down tomorrow on NFL Spin Zone at the Dan Salem on Facebook. They overpaid. A team like the Jets backed off, said, we're just going to pay for a savvy veteran because we need some insurance. But we're not going to overpay. We don't want to make a name. We don't want to make headlines with this addition. So they went Josh McCown. Then there are the Cleveland Browns, who added a quarterback in the draft and have a bunch of players on their roster. Then the Texans added a quarterback in the draft, Deshaun Watson, and through free agency. Oh, right. Browns also added the Texans, Brock Osweiler. So that's an interesting mix over there. The point is, teams were willing to overpay for quiet veteran quarterbacks. Yeah, that's right, Maddie. But I have to believe the fact that Colin Kaepernick comes with prior off-the-field baggage that they weren't willing to overpay or pay comparable money for him. Now, also, people will think he's a system quarterback. He excelled under a very specific style of offense with Jim Harbaugh, and then was very much hit or miss the last couple seasons. I mean, if you're looking to add a veteran who could actually have a spark on your team and maybe potentially be great, there's a high ceiling there with Kaepernick, why not add him if the price is equal? I've been saying this for quite a while. If the price is equal, why didn't the New York Jets add Colin Kaepernick instead of Josh McCown? Colin Kaepernick's more exciting. There's bigger upside. Nobody's really mentoring the young Jets quarterbacks. McCown maybe. So I'm surprised that Kaepernick lasted. But once he lasted, then he wasn't going to get signed that month before the draft because the teams are going to draft their guys. Now they've drafted guys. He's not going to get signed until the workouts begin because teams got to flush out who they want to keep around and who they're going to dump, and then if they want to bring him in to steal a job. Or if someone gets hurt, he's going to get called up real quick. Same with RG3, Robert Griffin III. Get called up real quick. Excuse me, need some water. Real quick if an injury hits. So that hasn't happened yet. So both of those guys are just kind of sitting out there. Let's start in Cleveland with a four-person quarterback battle that really isn't. I got to believe they threw a lot of money at Brock Osweiler. This is a rebuilding team with very low aspirations this particular season. Osweiler is probably going to start the year. It'd be a surprise if there was anything other than that going down. That being said, he probably is not going to finish the year as their quarterback. Let me pull it up for us. Because the Browns are in a pickle, much like the Jets were in a pickle last year. The track record for teams carrying four quarterbacks into the season is not very good. It's not very good at all. Like, really, really low. The Jets tried to buck the trend last year. They carried four quarterbacks. It did not work out particularly well for them. Multiple of their quarterbacks got hurt. So, the Browns have Cody Kessler, Kevin Hogan, Brock Osweiler, and then Deshaun Kaiser, the rookie. The Jets also did another thing last year, trend setting in the least complimentary sense of the word. They redshirted their rookie quarterback, Christian Hackenberg, that has second-round pick, for the entire season. He didn't step on the field, not even once. He did put on pads, I believe, on the sidelines, but he never played a down on the NFL football field for an actual game. This is also rare. It remains to be seen whether this was a successful strategy, but honestly, if the kid's not ready and he needs to learn on the sidelines, then he shouldn't be on the field. Let him sit on the sidelines. It's not a detriment to the pick because every rookie is a project. So if he's a 2 or 3 year project before he's ready to start, but then he's a great starter, it was well worth the time and energy. So, these three teams we're talking about, the Browns, the Bears, and the Texans, have rookie quarterbacks. They come in. They're all first round picks, or did Kaiser go in the second round? No, Kaiser went second round to Cleveland. So the Browns got their second round rookie. Houston and Chicago have first round rookies. I'd like to say that the Jets set a precedent where it's okay to sit your quarterback. And it's happened in the past. I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat a while, but it was because he was behind Brett Favre. But on bad teams, the rookie usually finds the field by mid to late season, at least the last quarter of the season. The Jets stood their ground, and they did not play him. It is going to be very difficult for Cleveland not to play Kaiser. Now, Osweiler comes with the money and a questionable amount of experience. Then either Cody Kessler or Kevin Hogan's going to be cut because I don't see Cleveland carrying 4 quarterbacks. There is no reason to do so. I mean, there really is no reason, and there's very little to gain because you're just holding back other positions of which you may want to develop talent at. That means there's an odd man out, and it's probably Kevin Hogan because Kessler's had success on the Browns, and Osweiler has the expectations of the salary, and they bailed out Houston. So I don't. It's weird because you're playing a guy who's just barely above good, especially you're a bad team, so he's not going to be great. And then you want your rookie to get in and play good, but if he's not ready, you can't push him. That's the case in Chicago. More explicitly, I mean, Kaiser, second round pick, the expectations aren't quite as high, maybe, but I mean, Cleveland definitely expects him to be their starter at some point. Then in Chicago with Mitch Trubisky, we got this going up tomorrow. Trubisky, it's funny because Mark Sanchez apparently is also a Chicago Bear. Now he's the backup third string quarterback. Period. I mean, there's no question there. But Mark Sanchez is in a very similar situation as Trubisky. He was a top pick. Now Mark Sanchez started right away for the Jets. The team was very good, so they compensated for his inexperience and his mistakes. Went 9-7, made the playoffs, then went all the way to the AFC Championship game. I can just gonna come out and say that's not happening for Chicago this season. I mean, it'd be a real stretch of the imagination to see that happening. The Jets had a really good defense and an excellent running game, and the Bears aren't quite there just yet. So for me, I know, you Bears fans, you're crying. But for me, the question then is, does Trubisky see the field? Because no, Bears fans, you don't need to cry anymore. It's okay. The reason I asked that question about when he sees the field is because experts agree he's not ready. He didn't play very much in college. So if he goes out there, it could do more harm than good. But if Chicago got the balls to sit him for the whole year and just learn behind Sanchez and then Mike Glennon, who they way paid high for as a veteran. The fact that they paid so much for Glennon makes you think they want to field a competitive team, and they're going to have him be the starter for this whole year and let Trubisky develop. But Chicago's not an easy football town either. I mean, if they're 3-10 and the season's gone and it's the end of the year, everyone's going to be wondering why Trubisky's not playing just to get experience. So I saw how the Jets dealt with it last year, and they handled it, but it was a mess. I would like to think that the Bears are going to learn from that experience and probably will start Trubisky by the end of the season because I don't see them being a very good football team. But if they can stick to their guns and actually hold him on the bench, great. I'm also posing the question, why did you overpay for Mike? Why did you pay so much for Glennon? What are you trying to accomplish here? You could have spent that money elsewhere. He's not your future quarterback. So if you're going to be a bad team and develop your rookie QB, why don't you just let Mark Sanchez start? Why do you pay Glennon so much money? Why don't you just pay RG3 and Mark Sanchez? What's the difference who's your starting quarterback this season if he's just a fill-in until the other guys are ready? Now, yes, you want to put the best team on the field. But from a value standpoint, spending money on that position makes very little sense. What's Mike Glennon going to teach Trubisky that Mark Sanchez can't? Sanchez has more experience. He's been deep in the playoffs. He was a rookie, drafted in the top 10 for a very polarizing franchise. And then he hit the high, and then he hit the low, the rock bottom low, and then he got hurt. So he's got the whole bevy of tales to tell. So I don't quite understand why they're spending the money on Glennon. Granted, they did that before they drafted Trubisky, but if the plan all along, they had the third pick. They traded up to the second pick to get him. So they were planning on picking him all along, as long as Cleveland didn't take him. I mean, something's not working here for me. I don't really like what the Bears did with their decision making this offseason. So I question how sound of logic they're going to use throughout the year. All I got to say is, with those two quarterback decisions looming, the entire front office and the coaching staff of Chicago is on the hot seat. Plain and simple already. No matter what goes down, I mean, there are so many ways they can screw this up, and only a couple that it goes right. So good luck to you. All right. I'm going to end with my New York Jets, so let's talk Houston Texans. They brought in Deshaun Watson. Again, is he going to start? How much will he play? Unlike Trubisky, he has quite a bit of college experience, and he won the championship last year, so we know he can go all the way and really lead a team and deal with the pressure. Do they feel he's ready? Does he win the job week 1? I kind of think the way in Philadelphia they ended up starting their rookie last year, I kind of think they go that route and Watson's just start week 1 at this point. I got a feeling. I mean, the Rams ended up starting Goff by a couple weeks in because they caved to fan pressure. Why let all that speculation build? This is a decent team. I actually like Houston. I mean, they were in the playoffs last year. They haven't lost too many pieces, but Watson already's coming off the high of winning a championship, so I kind of think he can just ride into the season. I know he throws a lot of interceptions, but most rookies are going to anyhow. He's one that I would start week 1 if he shows enough. He doesn't need to sit on the bench. Everyone agrees Trubisky does. I'd be shocked if he didn't sit on the bench for a while. Okay. And now for my New York Jets, who once again have a quarterback controversy. Like several of the other teams I mentioned, this seems to be an ongoing theme with my New York Jets. Only back when Mark Sanchez was winning was there not a controversy. And then there was no controversy about who's going to start last season. It was just a controversy of when they would sign Ryan Fitzpatrick. That just made a shit show of things, pardon my French, because the team could not gel in the offseason like they're supposed to because the quarterback wasn't in the house. So, Josh McCown's getting the first team reps as he should be. He's a savvy veteran, not the long-term answer, but a short-term fill gap solution. Did they pay too much for him? I mean, they're not really paying him too much at all. So, could they have paid less for Kaepernick? If so, they should have went that route. But also, you got to see who fits the system. Kaepernick doesn't fit many systems. McCown has proven he can learn a lot of different systems because he's played for a lot of teams. So that's an asset. And the Jets must have thought he could teach more to Hackenberg and or Petty. So this season, the Jets have 3 quarterbacks, not 4. There's a win already. And Petty's coming off shoulder surgery, so the expectations for him are medium. I mean, he could be the 3rd string quarterback. He could be the 2nd string if he wins that job. I'd be shocked if he won the starting quarterback job. I saw some real good things from him last year, but not any sort of consistency. So that's something he's really going to have to work on between now and the start of the year if he has any hopes of playing for the New York Jets. So then the question remains, Hackenberg. Now he's the sophomore. He got redshirted in his freshman season with the Jets. Didn't see the field, didn't play in down. We got to see him. We got to see what he can do. He's not going to start week 1 for the Jets unless something crazy happens and he blows everybody away. But unless something crazy happens and this team blows everybody away, they're an average football team. I don't think they're the worst in the league. Oh my God, so many people are coming out and saying the Jets are the worst football team in the league this year. That's crazy talk. They still have a really good defense, and they've only added to it in the offseason. And the running game is going to be excellent. Great bevy of young wide receivers, so there's talent there. Questions on the offensive line, but they filled in admirably last year. They're not going to be worse than 5-12. They were going to be better. This is probably more like a 7-9 club. I'd love them to overachieve, but 7-9 seems more realistic to me for the Jets this year. So when do they start their rookie quarterback? This is real tough. It's real tough because you need him to get the experience. You need him to play. But he's not going to go in. If he's not better than Josh McCown, they're not going to play him if they're sitting at 4-4. They're well within the hunt. That means he may not see the field until the second half of the season, unless he is on pace. If he's on par with McCown throughout the offseason, him or Petty, I should say, they're going to give it to the young guy. That's just smart. Otherwise, the veteran's going to continue to play because the team wants to keep winning until they're eliminated from the playoffs. They want to play for that playoff spot because stranger things have happened. The turnover in the NFL is tremendous, especially with injuries. It's going to be the same story in Chicago, same story in Cleveland, same story in Houston. I kind of think the San Francisco 49ers, they were the second worst team last year. I kind of think they're going to be the worst team this year. It just doesn't look good in San Francisco. Okay, so that was my quarterback battle breakdown extended edition. I think I'll hold off and talk other positions next week as these teams kind of get more into OTAs. There's some good running back battles going on. Who's going to be like the go-to wide receiver on a few of these teams? And like I said, there's some big name free agents still out there. So plenty of excellent NFL action to talk about. The NBA Finals, Golden State Warriors dismantled, kind of dispatched with the Spurs. So they're just sitting and waiting for the winner of Cavs Celtics. It'd be a shocker if it wasn't Cleveland, but Celtics aren't bad. And they get the number one. They have the number one pick next year, so they're going to even be better. Baseball's moving along. Yankees still have managed to keep winning, so yay, Yankees. I'm Dan Salem. Thank you so much for joining me. I am live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Facebook at the Dan Salem, on YouTube, BuzzChomp. Got a new web series premiering on Friday, Pillow Talk TV on YouTube. Baby Diva. I got a nice little daughter of my own now, so we've created a web series around that family dynamic with the same characters from Pregnant Problems. Great, great comedy. Tune in. And I'll be back next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, live talking the NFL and sports. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a good night.